good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little lovelies out there. I hope that you're feeling the love. You continue to feel the love. Okay, my delicious little honey bunnies. Now then, let me just adjust my camera a minute. There we are. That's a bit better, isn't it, my delicious little babies? Now then. So, my lads. Thank you, little lads. You're delicious and... Oh, hold on. You're delicious and bright. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies. So what's the time, Mr. Wall? So it's almost 10 to 10 to 11, sorry, a.m. in our old England, my delicious little babies. And yeah, it's been peeing down all morning. The weather's not long stopped, so I'll pop out shortly, go and take my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday out because the beautiful little Maisie Moo can walk south. Anyway, my delicious little babies, so yeah, I hope that wherever you are in the world that the weather is better than where we are, okay? My delicious little babies. Now then, there is something that I want to say. So yesterday, okay, my delicious little babies, yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Yeah. So I went to send a comment, to our lovely, not in that way, our lovely with anybody apart from one, our lovely UK column. And, what did it say? Action not allowed. That's what it said, my delicious little babies. It didn't matter what I did. It just kept saying action not allowed. Now, considering that there are ones on the internet, my delicious babies, who send comments, and sometimes they send the most, I regard anyway, as some of the most putrid comments going, oh, but they're allowed to have their comments, my delicious babies, but I'm not allowed to send a comment where all I was saying was left and right. So I was talking about the rally. It was only just a few sentences, my delicious little babies, okay? It was nothing super duper important major. Well, it was important because I was sending the comments, because I happen to enjoy listening to our lovely UK column. However, I never put anything. What I was doing was pointing something, there we are, out in such a way. That's what I was doing, my delicious babies, and it wouldn't let me put the comment. So I'm sorry about that, our lovely dear UK column. But I wasn't allowed to comment. Look at that. See what I mean, my delicious babies? But what I was talking about was that you were looking at, on Saturday, this protest thing that went on in London, my delicious babies. What I was talking about was you had one side who thought one way, then you had another side that thought another way. But there was one particular where Winston Marshall, not in that way, was talking to a man, not in that way. And it was very interesting. It was towards the end of the video, my delicious babies. It was very interesting to hear what your man there said. The way that he put it. Okay, my delicious little babies. So that's the point I was making, you see. Okay? But it appears that I wasn't allowed to put a comment, okay? Well, it just goes to show, doesn't it, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? That YouTube, it appears, well and truly, it seems, there we are, has an issue with my comments, has an issue with my videos. They seem to have an issue with everything, my delicious little babies, yes. So, what is it that I have to say about it? Well, it just goes to show one thing, doesn't it, my delicious little babies, that when you start, which I have been doing a long time, telling the damn truth now then, they're not a-liking, the algorithms are not a-liking, but I am utterly, there we are, convinced, which I am, my delicious babies, that these, okay, there's got to be somebody, bing, 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 behind the keyboard here as well, okay, my delicious babies, because I am only a little channel, only in numbers, Maatelijke babies, only in numbers. Do you know what I mean? For subscribers, I'm referring to Maatelijke babies. And anyway, bless any subscriber, but that's why I'm getting myself out to saying subscribers, and I'm saying, my little lovelies and my little beautifuls, you know what I mean? Maatelijke babies, that's what I'm doing it for. Now, at the same time, I put up 2 short videos. Okay, Maatelijke babies, I was showing everybody this monster plant. We do the monster mash. Okay, Maatelijke babies, which others will know as, because I thought it was a cheese plant, but when it was said as a something monster plant, okay, Maatelijke babies. Now, the lady woman who happened to give me that plant was, because there's lots of plants, isn't there, Maatelijke babies? Happens to be Polish, and believe it or not, I've just spoke to her this morning. Actually, she was talking about this little pussycat who was following her, who was crying. She just said, if anybody will know, what little animals, little babies are around here, she said, then you would know. And I said, well, there's only one of that description. I said, and a family down the road, owner, came out, Muslim family. Bless them, they're always very polite and pleasant to me, but they're the only ones who have this particular coloured cat. Okay, Maatelijke baby. So it must be, that little one. Anyway, Maatelijke baby, she's beautiful. If it's rewind and start again. If she is their cat, then I know her name, and she's so beautiful. She really is. Anyway, all little babies are beautiful, especially my 2 little beautiful babies. You know what I mean? Yeah, young and stretchy little nails. Oh, she's getting older now, bless. Anyway. So, and I happened to mention to this dear Polish lady, dear Polish woman, because they're a beautiful little family. Again, because to the families who aren't, they're beautiful little families. Well, anyway, she doesn't know who runs Israel. I was just really shocked at that. She never knew. Considering Netanyahu is Polish. I would have thought, I don't know. Do you know what I mean, Maatelijke babies? That's nothing against any Polish or anything. No, it isn't, because I know some beautiful families. That's got nothing to do with it in any way. I'm not even going to continue down that road any further. But yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? She didn't even know who he was. I said to her, I said, it's just, I said, that's why I mentioned it to you, because it's just so strange that you gave me the plant. You know what I mean, Maatelijke babies, from Polish to English, do you know what I mean? With a bit of Bangladesh and a bit of Irish, you know what I mean? Maatelijke babies, yes. So anyway, but no, lovely little family. She said, oh, what's happened to me plant? Because this little plant is a house plant. Well, to be honest with you, are any really plants house plants? That is another question, isn't it, Maatelijke babies? Why am I asking that question? Okay, I know the answer. Because really, it's nature. And nature should be outside, shouldn't it, Maatelijke babies? We tend to have it indoors because, one's like flowers, one's like plants, all different types of leafy plants. So it is for our personal enjoyment, isn't it? Like on a windowsill to look at a little plant, or in the corner of the room to have an even larger plant. Anyway, so I did mention to her, she was looking at, a few of the leaves, and I said, well, that's what you get when you leave the plant outside. It starts to go a lot darker. You know what I mean? It's what's coming down from the sky, Maatelijke babies, okay? I said, not to worry. I said, I'll bring her back in because I've got another corner of the room to put her in. You know what I mean, Maatelijke babies, but she's clearly showed on my short video, she's a very large plant, and she grew an awful lot in 1 year. Okay, Maatelijke babies. Anyway, so what is it that I've got to say? Yeah, and furthermore, just one more thing I want to say. There's always something with myself. I could flipping talk and oh, look, that looks like a J. Can you see? Looks like a J. Okay, Maatelijke babies now then. And of course, alongside there, you've got a few rat's tails. Okay, my delicious little babies. I'm just looking at the shape of my hair, the different shapes and everything, how it falls and sits. Okay, my delicious little babies. The other thing I want to say, yeah. So he looks like Keir Starmer. Well, nobody's surprised at this, are they, my delicious little babies? Nobody's surprised one bit. Okay, and I want to talk about this as well, just very quickly. There's something to do with that supposed Ukrainian, what they're called. I forgot what they're called now, escorts or something. There's something very strange about that story, and I thought that there we are at the very, very beginning. I never said anything, but I thought it. Okay, my delicious little baby. Something didn't quite add up. And why go for there we are, a specific house? And was there something else to do? There we are with the house. There we are. That's what I'm asking, my delicious little babies. It just seems all very odd to myself, if you know what I mean, my delicious. That's all I'm saying. Okay. But anyway, it seems that from what I've heard on our lovely to do ran to do ran, our lovely Duran this morning, my delicious little baby said, well, it seems that Mr. Starmer's not. And if you'd like to subscribe to their channel, they're now up to 527,000 subscribers. My delicious little babies, I like to keep, there we are, up to date with what's going on in the world, my delicious little babies, and this is why I advertise, and I do it as a hobby. Okay, my delicious little babies, that's all I do. Okay. But in return, I've been spied on. I've been driven absolutely around the effing bend. And by the way, yeah, there used to be two bins not far from where I live, but there's only one now. There were two bins for months and months and months and months and months, and now there's only one. Well, maybe now, there we are, maybe whoever it is, maybe they've received, there we are, the message. Okay, my delicious babies in one way or another. Yes. Now then, because it's not fair that I should be driven to despair, to feel down in myself, because of somebody else's actions, spying on my dog and bone and everything. Anyway, I'm going to get another dog and bone. Okay, my delicious babies, and one that they cannot trace. Okay, my delicious babies. So, the little buggies inside and outside my home, my delicious babies. Well, very soon they'll be hearing two different ringtones, you know what I mean, my delicious babies, but they won't be able to track this one. I'll make sure, there we are, I'll make sure of it. Okay, my delicious babies, now then. And I know it sounds to yourselves, anyway, anybody who knows myself, they know that there's nothing wrong with my noddle upstairs. They fully well know that, okay? This has been going on, there we are, for a very long time. Not just 5 minutes now. This is a very long time, my delicious babies, yes, okay? And after a while, it's just going to drive me crazy. There's lots of large cars, Land Rovers, all different ones. They're just massive. These cars are getting larger and larger, aren't they, my delicious babies? They're flipping colossal, some of these cars, I walk past it and I look tiny compared to these cars. Do you know what I mean? They're just getting larger and larger. What's all that about? You know what I mean, my delicious babies? Yes. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, let's get back to this. So so that's to do with the Starmer business. Well, nobody's surprised at that. Nobody's surprised. But it seems that one's in our old England, and I will say it, and I couldn't give figures F. Everybody's entitled to do what they want to do. I'm a woman with a view. I shall have my effing view. The fact of the matter is, my delicious babies, is this. If they're damn, and I do not like this word, but sometimes we have to use it, if they're damn foolish enough to go and vote for, there we are, for somebody else, then it's a very old-fashioned Jamaican saying, my delicious little babies, they're going to get, there we are, what the damn duck give them, isn't it? Because if they feel that anything's going to change, okay, they got another damn thing coming, isn't it? But this is there we are, but this is the madness, okay? You can see how it's all, I've just got the word locked, you can see how it's all locking in. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes, okay. And not to mention, they mentioned, what is his name as well? I seen that the other day. Rupert Lowe, is it? Whatever his name is. Um, and he was going to take on a Ben Habib, to let him join. You can see, there we are, how this is going. So if ones, there we are, cannot see or hear, see and hear, isn't it? What they're going to get, there we are, what they don't give them again. Can you see what I'm saying? This is the madness of it all, my delicious babies. You see what I'm saying? And then, of course, then they're going to be blarting, there we are, like titty la la, when what they thought they were told they're not going to get. You see what I mean, my delicious babies? Yes, okay. So you just got to watch the flex. Anyway, the other one who I want to advertise, my delicious babies, I'm going to mention this man again. Now he is starting to get the word starting, there we are, to get around. Okay, my delicious babies. Simon, capital S, space, capital D, Dixon. He's now up to 155,000 subscribers, my delicious babies. Now I've got my ears, okay, very much, not in that way, of course, fixed, there we are, to what he's saying, okay, my delicious babies, okay. Now, he covers the Bitcoin, he covers other things, but, of course, even though, he does talk a bit about geopolitics or whatever, the main thing is his finance. He cuts through all of the red tape, there we are, all of the crap, he cuts through all of that, and he gets to the point, my delicious babies. You've got to really watch now. So please, if anybody would like to subscribe to his channel, also our dear, not in that way, our dear Mag, all spaces, in capitals, Mag Bitter Truth, next level on YouTube, my delicious babies. He's now up to 15.9 thousand subscribers, so he's very slowly creeping up, okay, my delicious babies. This is what they do see. Certain can get, and I think that our lovely UK column, not in that way, I think they're at 27 point, is it 27.3 or 27.1? It's something like that, my delicious babies. Anyway, some numbers can go up very quickly, and of course, for others, some numbers, for some unknown reason, we all know the reason why, seem to either stick at a certain number, and then they take a long time to creep up. Okay, my delicious babies, but we all know what that's about, okay? If you would have given, say YouTube many years ago, it would never have been like this, would it? You know what I mean? But because of all of this censoring going on, because you're meant to be, what is it, seen and not heard. There we are. It's a very old-fashioned saying. They used to say that, when little bairns, when little babies were little. We little young lassies and we little young lads, they used to say, little bairns, well, I call them bairns, others call them children, got to remember the ren on the end. Well, the fact of the matter is, my delicious babies, bairns should be seen and not heard. This is how they're treating us now, my delicious babies, and have been for quite a while. Do you see what I mean? So I'm pretty sure that they do not mind with some that you can be seen but you cannot be heard. Okay, my delicious babies. So basically, yeah. And that's what I wanted to tell you yesterday, my delicious babies, because I was flipping rambling on, wasn't I? Going on a bit anyway. The point is, Andrew's liver salts. That's what it was I wanted to say yesterday, my delicious babies. Andrew's liver salts. And one other thing I want to mention, my delicious babies, is this. Now, this bricks business, so I'm going to go on about this again. I did 2 shorty videos yesterday. I was done saying there we are what I had to say. I do not trust them. And I heard on another video, was it last week? And I thought, finally, somebody else has seen it. There we are as well. Okay, Mad, I cannot remember the channel now. Otherwise, I would have wrote it down. Okay, it just happened to me as I was passing through. And he said the same. This your man there, not in that way. He said the same. And I was like, yeah, finally. Somebody else, there we are, he's also seen it. A lot of moss growing on the old bricks, isn't there, my delicious babies? We have to remember, there we are, that one rule, isn't it? Okay? So when everybody say, and let's not forget, and I'm going to repeat this again, my delicious babies. I'm not shouting at you, my delicious babies. You know that. It's just I've got to, while it's on my nod, I've got to say it. with the bricks. So how it was sold, okay? So at first, I thought, oh, it's a really excellent idea until I started with my noddle, not looking at videos, but in my noddle, looking, there we are, at more deeper things now. And they sell it as, oh yeah, well, they're only going to be working between their countries, what was it, digitally or whatever. Yes, okay, until it creeps in. Do you see what I mean, Marge? Babies, and of course, you got digital ad in. No, it's a load of bullshit. I do not believe it, okay? And I am going to keep saying it. And that's why I was so super duper pleased when I heard somebody else saying the same damn thing. It's the same thing with the inflation. Marge babies, there's only one other man, bless him, not in that way, elderly. And he said it the same. I happened to come across him after I'd said it, and I thought, you know what, yes, there's not very many of those out there, Marge babies, because everybody else believes in the effing bullshit, man. There we are. Okay, Marge babies, and not only this, but ones who on all the channels. This is nothing personal, but all ones on the channels, and they've got bricks behind them, like brick walls and things like this. Now then, yeah, got to be careful to trust in, there we are, that as well. Who's working their strings now? Okay, Marge babies, so anything that I said on my shorty video is nothing that I cannot say today. Okay, Marge babies, but yeah, that really pissed me off yesterday that I couldn't send my comment. It wasn't a nasty comment, but it just would not allow me. Anyway, Marge babies, so this is only one video today. One video. Now, I'm a quarter of the way through this, and I wanted to make sure I got my video out, Marge babies, and thank you so very much for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments, okay? It's so very much appreciated. I'm most thankful, and you're so very kind to myself, okay, Marge babies, but as we very well know, there's certain in the world, they, let's just say it's all very, they are selective. I've said this before, haven't I, Marge babies? Now then, and by the way, I'm going to be making 2 curries today. One's going to be, it's Chinese. One's going to be prawn egg fried rice, and the other one's going to be chickpea curry today. So we've got 2 different curries going on. Okay, my delicious babies, yes. Now then, my delicious babies. So this uploader is called capital W where space capital O on space capital E earth. Earthlings. Okay, mad, baby. So just let me do that then. Right, so the uploader, not in that way, is called Where on Earth with Spaces. This uploader happens to have 14.4 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? And I've never come across, like I say, this before. I've had to fish for it. Okay, my delicious babies, mind you, there are countries, there was one at the end of the world. Don't they know it's the end of the world? What year was that song, my delicious babies? What year was that song? Now then, yeah, they have a lot of fish over there, don't they? Where they live at the end of the world, supposedly, the end of the world. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, this video should read, getting back to the matter in hand. Right. Chernobyl. Okay, my delicious babies, I'm just going to spell this out for you. CHERNOBYL. Chernobyl. Or Chernobyl. So I'm sorry if I've mispronounced it. What 40 years without humans, I call mankind. Somebody else has named us humans, my delicious babies. Remember, earthlings. Okay, did to this city. Okay, my delicious babies, so I'm just going to repeat this for you once again, shall I? Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. Early in the morning, just as day is dawning. Chernobyl, what 40 years without humans did to this city. Now I'm going to close my book, Martylish Little Babies. Yes, very interesting this, because 350,000, like I said, I'm only a quarter of the way through. So what it is, I need to, I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. In fact, I may have two. One's really got to keep a handle on it. Now then, Martylish Little Babies, so lovely cup of coffee. Well, is it 350,000 who were the population of this particular part? It was a part of Ukraine, Martylish Babies, Ukraine. Was it north of Ukraine? Cannot remember now. Anyway, Martylish Babies, it seems that a lot goes north, doesn't it? Martylish Babies. Anyway, well, so they were evacuated. According to a third into this video, to do with the ground, and I don't know, I suppose it's dangerous or whatever. Yeah, but when you start looking at this video, Martylish Babies, you see that all the greenery comes back. You've got wolves where they're living naturally, so, you know, from what I can see of the video. I think you've got horses, you've got what you call, I do not like this, you know, to call them dogs and cats. I really just hate saying that, but anyway, but that's what I say. I like to call them our little beautiful sons and daughters. So they've got dogs, you know, who were supposedly left there from when, you know, families were evacuated. But and then you've got others, you know, nature and everything, and animals, you know, and everything. And it appears to myself, and it's all overgrown, and then, you know, so it's gone straight through like and buildings, you know, and things like this now. Then, but what is very interesting is that there's 3,000 men or 3,000 workers. Sorry. Now there's a little hotel there so they can have something to eat. Somebody feeds, or somebody's feeds the animals, Martylish Little Babies, and then you know, they're there doing some sort of, but this area is completely, let's just say, cornered off. So nobody can go there apart from these 3,000. Look at the code in Martylish Little Babies, 3,000. Okay, that magic number 3. And so what are they doing? Now, they made a point of saying at the beginning of the video that they vaccinate our beautiful little babies, so they vaccinate them. But when you're seeing how they're living, our beautiful little babies, they're roaming free. Okay, so it reminded me, but that was about over 3 hour long. I mentioned this months ago where there was this other video, and I haven't been able to find it since because I never wrote it down. Silly me, silly me. Where, you know, when everybody goes, you know, our beautiful little babies have all got to fend for themselves. So they didn't have 3,000 giving them their meals. Do you know what I mean, Martylish Babies? Yes, that is the difference. There we are, you see. Do you see what I mean, Martylish Babies? Anyway, so I am going to watch the rest of that. And there is another video, but I forgot to flip and write it down. I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Okay, this is to do with billionaires. Okay, Martylish Babies in Russia. Anyway, Martylish Babies, but I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Anyway, so wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected, and how I love you all. So please take care of yourselves now. Please try to take care of others, because we are in a bonkers, crackers, and crazy world. Okay, Martylish Babies. So until my next video, I'm just advertising as I go along. For most of the videos, it will be one-offs that I advertise, because I tend to advertise regular ones, you know, who I happen to enjoy listening to on a regular basis. Okay, Martylish Babies, but I do hope, I sincerely hope that whatever I advertise in my book, you know, me A4, sorry, never need to stumble there, me pad, I do hope that one's sincerely, can get a lot of information from what I advertise Martin Babies. Now, I've got to pop out now before it starts, pissing back down with rain, Martin Babies. But the sun has got his hat on, hip, 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 hooray. So it's a bit like how it's going to be shortly. Sunshine on a rainy day. What year was that song, Martin Babies? Love ya. You're so beautiful, wonderful, delish, and I love you so. Take care. Goodbye.